Good morning. Today we're going to begin our 3 minutes presentation that will be given by students of scientific communications class, that they will talk about the um, uh, brief introduction of their selected topics. And without further ado, I would like to call the first student that will talk about her topic is going to be Salma Arida.
Okay.
Please turn on your camera and also share your screen.
Okay, I'll start sharing. I cannot share screen.
Okay, let me stop time and then go ahead. Okay, whenever you're ready, time is yours. Sorry, I think you are muting your microphone.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Hello.
Yes.
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Salma Arida Mufliha. I am from Physics for Electronic Material Research Group, Physics Department, Institut Teknologi Bandung. I'll explain about my research titled Green Synthesis Zinc Oxide with Paper Battle. Okay, so let's start this. Okay, so basically my research contains these 4 main components. It's about nano, zinc oxide, green synthesis, and paper battle. Nano in this case refers to nanomaterials. So what is nanomaterials? Nanomaterials is 1 to 100 nanometer size of material. And why I choose this size of materials? Because it has great different properties from its bulk form, such as it has high surface to volume ratio and it has quantum effect, etc. And then zinc oxide is a metal oxide that widely used in electronic devices, and nowadays it can also be used in physical sunscreen. So why I choose these materials? Because it has great electrical properties, it is good as an antibacterial, etc. And then about green synthesis, I choose this method to synthesize because it's eco-friendly, cheap, and easily used. And last one, I use paper battle as a reductor agent. So paper battle is sirih hijau in Indonesia. I use this as a natural reductor agent to reduce the precursor from zinc nitrate hexahydride to become zinc oxide. Okay, and then how my research works. First, I do my extract. It's like make a tea from the paper battle. So I just hit the powder of paper battle in certain temperature and in certain time. After that, I cooled it down and then I synthesize. I put some zinc nitrate in certain concentration in this extract and then heat it and stir it in certain time and certain RPM. And after that, I'll get the liquid or solution, and then I'll characterize it to know its property, to know its physical and electrical properties and also its optical properties. So this is my reference, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Salma. Okay, your presentation is under 3 minutes and it is good. You followed the time constraint, and also you gave a brief introduction about the reason why you select this topic and also describe what is the importance of the research itself. Okay, thank you, Salma. Okay, the next presenter is, do we have Denny Ramdhani in the classroom?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay.
The presentation slide have display.
Yes, we can see our presentation slide. You may start your presentation. You may start.
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Denny
Hello.
Ramdhani. I am the member of Physics of Magnetism and Photonics Research Group. In this change, I will explain my research paper. In the title of the paper is Application of Metal Surface on the lens as a reduction in the size and weight of the lens. Introduction. Manipulating light is vital topic for developing optical sensor, optical integrated circuits, and optical communication. The one of that, the metal surface can control the light. What is the metal surface? The metal surface is an interface structure pattern that can control the polarization, amplitude, and path of light. You can see in the figure, there is a tiny of the structure in the surface. For example, there is tiny pillar in the surface. The metal surface fabricated micro or nanoscale. There is so many function of the metal surface, such as the flat lens, hexagon, glass grating, vortex plates, plates for polarization, and holographic plates. In the figure, I show you the flat lens. As it's known, the lenses are fundamental to imaging system. For the conventional lens, if we will increasing numerical aperture, we have will increasing thickness. But if we apply the meta surface, we can increasing numerical aperture with the fixed thickness. And for some application, we have the reduction of the thickness and weight of the lens. For example, in the medical, for to detect the cancer cell. In the figure, we can see in the bending of light via refraction, we increasing numerical apply will increasing thickness, but in the bending of light via diffraction, we increasing numerical aperture with the fixed thickness. This is my reference, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Denny. Your presentation is kind of exceeding 3 minutes, but that is okay. Good job for your presentation, and I guess the visualization of the slides is also good, right? You handling the design of your captions as the explanation and also the figure are placed in the correct or in the appropriate place, so that we can see the description on the left and also the figure on the right. Okay, thank you, Denny. Let us move on to the next presenter. I would like to ask Anggun Yusifa. Do we have Anggun Yusifa in the classroom?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is the slide?
Yes, we can see your slide. Could you turn on your camera, please?
Oh.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Okay, I will start. Hello everyone, my name is Anggun Yusifa. Let me introduce my study about the effect of variation of exposure factor, computed tomography dose index or CTDI in air. The use of medical device in this medical world is very important. One of the examination with medical equipment that utilizes a radiation source is a CT scan. CT scan or computed tomography scan is a tool used to diagnose disease of organs in the human body. However, during the scanning process, the patient will receive radiation from the CT scan field. The area or body part of exposure to radiation from any angle can cause a very large dose distribution. This large dose of radiation needs more attention so that it does not have a negative impact on patient. Therefore, it is not necessary to measure the amount of radiation dose received by the patient in each examination. Computed tomography dose index or CTDI is a method for calculating the amount of radiation to determine the output dose on CT scan. The CTDI measurement consists of two measurements, CTDI measurement in phantom and CTDI measurement in the air. This study can focus on CTDI in the air. The value of the radiation dose in the air can be used to estimate the value of the radiation dose received on the phantom surface. CT scan parameter that can affect the amount of radiation dose received by the patient include exposure factor, tube voltage, current time, rotation time, pitch, and scan length. So the study aims to determine the effect of the voltage, time current, and pitch on the CTDI air. I think it's all for me. Thank you very much for your attention and good morning all.
Okay, good morning. Thank you. Your presentation time is under 3 minutes, but the common comment that I would like to suggest you is to speak up more because your voice is kind of soft. Okay, and then when you are presenting the topic, it is advisable for you to look on the camera so that the eyes is just like when you're going to talk eye to eye, face to face with the audience. Okay, because if you are if your head is looking down, it makes an impression that you are reading some materials. In presentation, you not reading, but you have to confidently talk with the audience. Okay, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, well, okay, let us move to Nita. Do we have Nita in the classroom?
Yes, sir. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tita Juang. Today, I'm gonna present to you my paper introduction entitled Analysis of Groundwater Potential Using 2D Geoelectric Method with Dipole-Dipole Configuration at Siak Regency, Riau Province. Water is a natural resource that has important function for life. All living creatures need pure water can be seen in figure 1.
Oh, I'm sorry, could you make it full screen, please?
Yes.
Could you make your presentation full screen?
Have you seen my slide, sir?
Yes, I can see your slide, but it's not in full screen.
Oh, I think in and now, sir, I think it's error because
Oh, okay.
okay.
Okay. Okay, you may continue.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tita Juang, and today I'm gonna present to you my paper introduction entitled Analysis of Groundwater Potential Using 2D Geoelectric Method with Dipole-Dipole Configuration at Siak Regency, Riau Province. Water is a natural resource that has an important function for life. All living creatures need pure water. Can be seen in figure 1, humans definitely need water. That's the same thing with the animals and plants. The increasing population in Indonesia caused the need for clean water to increase. And while the water supply has decreased significantly, both in quantity and quality. Thus, the groundwater exploration survey is proposed to overcome the scarcity issue of the clean water. In this study, I used the geoelectric method Because first, water table is conductive and allow an electric current to flow to the ground so that it can be used to identify the presence of subsurface water. And second, geoelectric method is efficient and economical to determine groundwater. The working principle of geoelectric is to inject current into the earth. The electrode consists of two curing electrodes, C1 and C2 in figure 4, that deliver the electric current, and two potential electrode is P1 and P2, reading the potential difference value after the current through the rocks. The four electrodes are plunged into the ground at a certain distance. The longer the distance of the current electrode will cause the flow of electric current can penetrate deeper rock layers. With the flow of electric current, it will cause electric voltage in ground. Electric voltage occurring at the ground surface is measured using a multimeter connected via two voltage electrode in P1 and P2, which is shorter the distance of C1 and C2 electrode. When the position of the electrode distance of the current is changed to be greater than the electric voltage. Potential electrode also change according to the information of the types of rock that participate in the injection of electric currents greater depth. Maybe that's all for me. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I think there is a trouble in the screen sharing because there are no transition between one slide to another in my position. So, but nevertheless, thank you, Nita, for giving us a talk or a discussion related to the groundwater investigation. I will. Well, later on, make sure that whenever you're going to present, the screen is moving and also able to use the full screen setting. Okay, thank you, Nita. Okay, so the next presenter, I would like to invite Adrio Rifan. Do we have Adrio?
Yes, sir. For my slideshow
Yes.
function. Yes. Okay. Good morning. Can I?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mister. I am Adrio Rifan from the Physics Department, Physics, Magnetics, and Photonic Research Group. But in this section, I will tell about application of gallium phosphide in photovoltaic cell. First, the 3,5 base alloy and heterostructure have been attracting much interest because they're great device application. But among all the 3,5 semiconductors, there is a gallium phosphide that have an interesting feature for high bandgap solar cell. It's possible because the gallium phosphide has a band structure that the direct band gap and indirect band gap have only 0.5 electron volt above the indirect band gap, so that the gallium phosphide will have a good coefficient absorption. And gallium phosphide also can be used in many applications such as LED and photocell beside of the photovoltaic cells. And why photovoltaic? Photovoltaic has become a top priority as an alternative and renewable energy source. It's due to climate problem for many countries. And among all the photovoltaic cell, there is the third generation thin film solar cell are the most promising photovoltaic cell. There is expected to achieve 35% efficiency that can only be achieved with the multi-junction cell. And for the feature that GAP gallium phosphide have, it can be used as gallium phosphide coated solar cell because of that high absorption coefficient I tell you before. And besides that, GAP also can be used as the solar cell material itself because of its stable nature at high temperature. So yeah, gallium phosphide can be used as a coating for solar cell or as the material itself. And to achieve the high efficiency GAP solar cell, there is a method that called FP4005 that is based on DFT. Yes. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you. Okay. Sorry, sir, I can't hear your voice. Oh.
Okay, thank you, Rio. Your presentation time is 3 minutes sharp. And then the description on the selected topic is well done. Okay, thank you. We should move on to the next presenter. Do we have Lira Senja in the classroom? Okay, do we have Lira in the classroom? Okay, we should move on to another. Yes, oh, okay, yes.
Yes.
Is this
Sorry.
Lira? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Great topic.
Can you see my slide?
Yes. Quickly.
Okay. If you are a coffee person, your day probably won't start until you brew a cup of morning coffee or grab one at your favorite coffee shop. But did you know, behind the perfect coffee, there's a science behind it? My name is Lira Senja, and today I will discuss about parameters in coffee extraction and how science can make the perfect caffeine. Coffee is a drink that is quite popular among the people. Indonesia itself is the fourth largest coffee producing country in the world. Coffee is very easy to find in Indonesia, ranging from low quality to the best quality. Luwak coffee, which is known as the most expensive coffee in the world, is also produced in Indonesia. Although there are many varieties of coffee around the world, two of the most common and well-known types of coffee are Arabica and Robusta. Coffee is produced from the processing and extraction of coffee beans. Broadly speaking, coffee bean processing consists of 3 stages, namely the roasting process, the grinding process, and the brewing process. Extraction occurs every time you brew coffee. When coffee meets water, it picks up the aroma, taste, and other substances in a cup of coffee. However, in a brewing coffee, there are several parameters that we must control so that we will get the ideal extraction. Processing parameters and variables in coffee extraction Process contribute to the flavor, quality, and consumer acceptance of the coffee extraction process. To achieve the ideal extraction when brewing process coffee, we should pay attention to the following three things: grind size, coffee to water ratio, and water temperature. And the aim of this research is to study the effect of the grind size, time, and temperature on the extraction of Robusta coffee and Arabica coffee. After we learn about science in coffee, I hope in the end of this discussion, we will have an answer to this question. Is barista a secret scientist? Well, we will find out soon. I think that's all from me. Thank you for your time and have a good day.
Okay, thank you. Splendid, splendid. You use a different approach in terms of the design of the presentation. You use a great technique when you're going to catch the attention of the audience. However, there is some kind of it's just a suggestion for the, I guess in the second and also the third slide. Instead of using sentences, you probably need to reduce the words there and then to make it just some words or phrases, okay? Because the description or the explanation from you itself is already good, so that you don't need to put too many sentences, or you don't need to put sentence in the slides. Just some key phrases, for example, processing stages, this, and this, and then the aim is this. Okay, thank you. Good job, Lira. Okay, 2 minutes and 17 seconds. And therefore, we would like to invite the next speaker. Do we have Darul Roni Rodiansyah?
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, can you see my
Yes.
slideshow? Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. My name is Darul Roni Rodiansyah. I am a member of Energy and Environmental Materials Laboratory, Department of Physics, Faculty of Mathematics and Natural Sciences, Institut Teknologi Bandung. I will present the introduction of my research entitled Investigation of Synthesis and Electrochemical Properties of Copper Sulfide Nanoparticles for Supercapacitors using Hot Injection Method. I will start with a background that prompted me to do research on supercapacitors. As we know today, the need for fossil energy continues to increase, which causes high dependence for fossil fuels. Pollution that continues to occur as it is today, global warming, which has been proven by the melting of the polar ice caps, and political tension between countries, such as that occur in various countries in Asia and Africa. Alternative solutions have been offered, including renewable energy and increased efficiency for transportation systems. However, there are still problems with this alternative solution. The increased vehicle efficiency requires kinetic energy to be stored whenever the vehicle slows down or stops, thus requiring large amount of power. And the use of renewable energy is deficient in the source intermittent nature, and power improvement is still tricky. Therefore, a good energy storage system is needed for these two problems. One solution can be chosen to use a supercapacitor. Supercapacitor are electrochemical energy storage device that operate by electrolytic absorption mechanism on electrodes with a high surface area. Supercapacitors are capable of delivering high power and fast charging with very long cycle life, over 100,000 cycles. Two types of supercapacitor based on their energy storage system are EDLC and pseudocapacitors. EDLC type supercapacitor work using Faraday reaction that utilize the formed double layer, and pseudocapacitor use fast redox reaction to storage energy. Therefore, a good electrode is needed. This is my reference. Next, the ideal electrode has the following criteria: is high specific capacity, high grade capability, wide contact area, high porosity, and have good cyclical stability. The material that can be used as an electrode is the transition metal sulfide. As in this picture, there are several materials, namely carbon nanotube, nickel sulfide, tin sulfide, iron sulfide, cobalt sulfide, vanadium sulfide, and titanium sulfide. However, one of the interesting materials to study is copper sulfide. The advantage of transition metal sulfide is higher electrical conductivity, higher ionic diffusion, narrow band gap. This is copper sulfide. Copper sulfide has good chemical stability, electric conductivity like metals, low price, abundant availability, and has a high theoretical capacitance. The method used also determines the performance of the resulting supercapacitors. And the method I chose is the hot injection method, because it has a short synthesis time and has controllable parameters to produce very small and uniform materials. From the description that has been explained, this research was conducted with the following objectives: investigating the synthesis and electrochemical properties of copper sulfide, and fabrication of supercapacitor electrodes with high specific capacitance. It is my reference. That's all from me. Thanks for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, your presentation is way beyond 3 minutes. You took 5 and 30 seconds. It's just like when you're going to explain all the details on your introduction. So it seems like that you need to trim your introduction section, because if you're going to talk for 15 minutes later on, the introduction becomes 1/3 of your total time. Okay, which is not recommendable, because the introduction supposedly took around 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, so that you can explore more, or you can describe more on the method itself, or the analysis, or the results. So therefore, the thing that you mentioned here in the introduction part is too much. Maybe you can make it simpler, so that the total time for you for the future presentation, for example, in the final one, do not going to be 1/3 of your presentation allocation time. And then, well, there are some minor mistakes in terms of the subject and verb agreement. For example, capacitor R is supposed to be capacitor is. So if you're going to use R, so capacitors are. So it's a common minor mistake that students usually do. Okay, but nevertheless, thank you, Ronnie,
thank you,
for
sir.
your presentation. We should move on to Chiska Rahmatun. Do we have Chiska Rahmatun in the classroom? Okay, do we have Chiska Rahmatun Rizki in the classroom? Okay, if there are no Chiska, if we don't have Chiska in the classroom, we should move on to Hasan Mustafa. Do we have Hasan Mustafa? Okay, no Hasan Mustafa. Okay, let us move on to Banafsaj Fatia.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. This is not sure. Okay. This is
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. My name is Fatia. I'm a member of Nuclear Physics and Biophysics Research Group. In this opportunity, I would like to present an introduction for my research. The title is Simulation of Fluid Flow Evacuation in the Reactor Core through the Draining Pipe using Moving Particle Semi-Implicit or MPS method. First, increasing demand for electrical energy. In this present era, a lot of energy is needed as one of the natural resources that can be used as an energy producing fuel. Nuclear power can be used as a promising alternative energy source. The reactor design is evolving, taking into account a variety of factors in order to produce the ideal reactor. One of the most critical factors to consider while designing a reactor is safety. The Fukushima Daiichi nuclear accident in March 2011 prompted substantial new standards for the design of future nuclear power facility. The requirement is to introduce the passive emergency system for emptying the reactor core in the event of a power outage. The system offered in this case is a freeze plug, one method that can be used to simulate the evacuation of fuel salt from the reactor core through the draining pipe is the semi-implicit moving particle or MPS method. In my research, the purpose of the study was to use a two-dimensional MPS method to simulate the fluid relocation process from two different container sources. The simulation describes the process of emptying the reactor core through draining pipes. The fluid used are water, oil, and honey. fluid type variation are used to see the effect of viscosity and density in interaction with surface. And this is my reference. That's all for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mr. Hari masih.
I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Your presentation took 2 minutes and 25 seconds, which is under 3 minutes. And the description on why we need to consider, well, you're going to explain it more later on. However, the introduction gave us some kind of an insight. Why do we need to make improvement or changes in regulation in terms of the nuclear reactor due to the Fukushima disaster that happens in 2011 due to the earthquake. And we hope to listen to your story later on. Okay, thank you, Fatia. Let us move on to the next presenter. I would like to invite Sandy David Tambunan.
Yes, sir. Excuse me, sir. Sorry, I have a problem with my camera, so I can.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope in the 15-minute presentation your camera will be fixed.
Okay.
Yeah, because looking at the presenter gesture is also one of the points that is going to be evaluated. Okay, go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Hari and everyone. My name is Sandy David Tambunan from the Nuclear Physics and Biophysics Research Division, Faculty of Mathematics and Natural Sciences, Institute Teknologi Bandung. On this occasion, I will present the introduction of my research with the title is NuScale Reactor Design and Analysis using Program-Based Monte Carlo and Euphysical. Electrical energy is the main source of energy that is widely used and needed by humans in everyday life. But the reserve of fossil energy sources, especially petroleum, are running low. And the use of fossil energy harms the environment. Therefore, the choice to start building and operating a nuclear reactor as a power plant is inevitable. Nuclear power plant is a thermal power plant that uses one or more nuclear reactor as a heat source. It does this the same way as coal, oil, and natural gas power plants do. Namely, it heats water into steam to turn a generator. The difference is the way that it heats the water. Instead of burning fossil fuel, a reactor will heat water by bringing pellets of uranium close together until they form a critical mass. There are several types of nuclear reactor. One of it is a small modular reactor. Small modular reactor are nuclear fission reactor that are smaller than conventional nuclear reactor. Small modular reactor are advanced nuclear reactor that have a power output of less than 300 megawatt electric per unit, which is about 1/3 of the generating capacity of traditional nuclear power reactors. Among our worldwide small modular reactor design, the NuScale is a key to bring a new opportunity as one of the small modular reactor for the future of the nuclear industry. NuScale power module is a new kind of nuclear power plant that is smarter, cleaner, safer, and cost competitive. This picture shows the design and technology of NuScale. A NuScale power module includes the reactor vessel, steam generator, pressurizer, and containment in an integral package. Simple design that eliminates reactor coolant pumps, large bore piping, and other system and components found in large conventional reactors. In this research, using the MCNP program. MCNP program is the statistical Monte Carlo method. This program simulates the life journey of a neutron starting from the birth of the neutron until the neutron is absorbed by the material that makes up the reactor core. So that's all for me. Thank you for the attention.
Okay, and thank you. The presentation took less than 3 minutes, and that is following the time. Okay, thank you, Sandy. We should move on to the next presenter. Okay, Sandy took 2 minutes and 50 seconds for this presentation. Okay, we could hear more about the physics of the Newton absorption mechanism later on. But now we are going to move on to Bunga Edinia.
Okay, sir. Okay, can you see my screen, sir?
Yes.
Okay, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Bunga Edinia Gultom. And today I'm going to tell you about my introduction of my research topic about pore structure analysis of concrete using digital image of microcomputer tomography. So as we know today, the development of construction industry is increasing rapidly along with the increasing of human needs in the field of building construction. And one of the most famous materials and is widely used is a concrete because it has several advantages. For example, high compressive strength, resistant to high temperature, low cost, and many more. And generally, concrete contains of 1 until 2% air void, and then 25 until 40% of cement base, and 60 until 75 aggregates, which include fine and coarse aggregate. And so, as we know that the existence of pores are greatly influence the mechanical properties of concrete, and this mechanical properties is compressive strength. And so this pore structure includes of its shapes, its volume, its size, and also its distribution. That's why it is important to know what is the correlation with this pore structure that influence the compressive strength of this concrete. And then the technique that I will use in this research is using microcomputer tomography. So a basic principle of this technique is this technique utilize an X-ray that produced from X-ray tube, and then this X-ray will be passing through the specimen on a rotating state, and the X-ray will be attenuated. So the attenuated intensity will record on the detector and generate a projection image. And then this set of projection image will then be reconstructed. So we will obtain a reconstructed image, and then a software will be used to analyze this concrete to get the several parameters that will be analyzed. And so what is the purpose of this research? There are two goals. The first one is to present the ability of microcity to reveal the microstructure of concrete before and after compressive strength test. And then we will analyze how the correlation between the pore structure and this compressive strength. Okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you for your attention all.
Okay, thank you, Bunga. Your presentation time is under 3 minutes. Are you going to use an actual sample for this assignment, or or it is coming out from a certain publications?
Yes, sir. I am using my actual sample in my final draft.
Oh, okay.
But I will combine with the previous researcher.
Okay. Is it a wet sample or is it a dry sample?
Dry sample.
Oh, okay. Okay, because the the mechanical properties when the concrete is saturated with water and also dry will be gave a different result. So therefore, we need some kind of evaluation on the water content itself. But nevertheless, we will look for the result of, or the preliminary result of the research. So later on we could have more explanation and description about the properties of the concrete itself. Okay, thank you, Bunya.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Okay, let us move on to the next speaker. I would like to invite Dara Rianti.
Yes, sir. Can you see my slide, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, Mr. Hari. My name is Dara Rianti from Physics Department, Institute Teknologi Bandung. I'm going to present about my research entitled Investigation of Landslide Prone Area Using Van Slambercy Configuration Geoelectric Method in Dalmongi, Bandung. So the background of my research is Indonesia is located at the confluence of three world plates, namely Eurasian plate, the Pacific plate, and the Australian plate, which move against each other, causing the Indo-Australian plate to subduct under the Euro-Asia plate. This gives rise to the path of earthquakes and active volcanoes along the island of Sumatra, Java, Bali, and Nusa Tenggara, parallel to the path of the subduction of the two plates. From the process of subduction of these plates to form mountains with constituent rock that have experienced strong weathering due to tropical climate condition. With conditions like this, Indonesia is prone to landslide. Landslide causes this disaster when they harm human in social, economic, and environmental aspect. The impact of landslide can be extensive, including loss of life, destruction of infrastructure, damage to land, and loss of natural resources. Landslide material can also block rivers and increase the risk of floods. Why I use a geoelectric method in my research? Because the resistivity geoelectric method can produce the image of the subsurface rock layer based on resistivity value of the rock type that constitutes the layer which is estimated be the cause of landslide. I have two purposes in my research. First, analysis of the underground structure in Dalmongi area using the geoelectric method. And second, determine the structure and layer of subsurface soils in Dalmongi. This is my reference, and that's all for me. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Dara. You spent 2 minutes and 20 seconds for your introduction. So in this case, you're going to use a geoelectric method to locate the you basically want to characterize or identify the slide slope, right? The slope of the hills that can be potentially creates landslide. That is the objective. And then you're using it in a dry condition or is in rainy season? Do you know when was the data is taken?
I think in dry season because
In dry season.
I use data of KEK.
Oh, so it is from your senior.
Yes.
And Dalemwangi itself is located in is it still in Bandung area or is it outside?
In Bandung.
In Bandung
In
area, is it
Ciumbuleuit.
in the Ciumbuleuit area? Okay, so okay, so is this part of the research done by Pak Nur Hasan, or is it a different research?
I think Pak Nur Hasan.
Oh, okay, so
apa namanya itu? Thesis of KEK,
Oh,
and
okay.
I use the data.
Oh, okay. So we can hear a lot more from the research, and maybe you will took another approach in terms of the analyzing the data. Okay, thank you, Darren, for your presentation. We would like to invite Muhri. Do we have Muhri Iza in the classroom?
Present, sir.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Murida. I'm from Physics Department, Faculty of Mathematics and Natural Science, Institute Teknologi Bandung. Today, I want to present about my topic with the title Fire Point Detection System using K-nearest neighbor method. Public building fires are one of the hazards in the urban environment. In contrast to house fires, which are mostly caused by accident in the kitchen environment, many urban building fires are caused by electrical problems in installation or in electronic device. This kind of fire start at a relatively small level, but can be dangerous to even large building. One of the security aspects in modern building today is the handling of fire hazard. The security system used today are generally based on smoke detection and alarms, where the way it works by is sounding warnings and prevention by sprinkling water through sprinkler. However, the system has the disadvantage that it doesn't indicate the location of the fire, making it difficult to extinguish the fire. So I want to make a system that can cover the shortcoming. The system developed detects the presence of fire and determines the direction of location of the fire points in the room, since the fire is still small. The system is made by considering two parameters, temperature parameters and flame fire parameter. The temperature parameter detected by the LM35 sensor, which work by changing the ambient temperature of the room into an electrical quantity in the form of voltage, and the fire parameter, which is detected by the flame sensor, which work by receiving light wave generated by the candle flame. The value detected by the LM35 sensor will be processed for the classification process using K-nearest neighbor method. The K-nearest neighbor is a data classification method for estimating the likelihood that a data point will become a member of one group or another group based on what group the data points nearest to it belong to. The KNN works by finding the distance between a query and all the example in the data, selecting the specified number example closest to the query, then vote for the most frequent labels. That's all from me. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Ri. Your timing is under 3 minutes, which is the required time. and the description about the purpose of the research is also in a brief way, and therefore great job for you in terms of preparing and designing the slides and the content. Okay, thank you, Mufrik. We'd like to move on to the next presenter. Do we have Felix Cahyadi?
Here, sir. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, so can all of you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to introduce to you the topics that one of our research topics in the Department of Physics, and it's called single photon state control via polarization. And to know about it more, we need to first introduce the system that we care about, which is a photon itself. And so what is a photon? If you, so photon is a particle of light. So here, what we want to control is one single photon, which is very small and it's very hard to control. And why do we want to use it? First, we want to use it because we can encode information into it. So photon has several states that we can use to transmit information, and one of them is the polarization state, and the other is the spin orbit state. And basically, what we want to do in this research is to use the polarization state to control the shape of the spin orbit state, which is the state that we see in the detector. And the way it works is through this experiment, which use lasers and sets of mirrors and lens to control the spin orbit state. And here the polarization will act as a controller in which the beams will interact. So certain polarizations will interact with certain lens and the others don't. And in the end, we can see that there will be a correlation between the polarization state of the photon and the spin orbit state. And so if all of the things that we have talked about, so what is this actually good for? So if we look at the system, we can correlate this to things that are familiar to us, which is Morse code. So every shape, we can look at every shape as a code. So as the same as Morse code, we can transmit information with every shape. And by controlling the state using polarization, we can then apply it to noisy channel transmission, in which if you have a noisy channel, you will not be able to transmit information directly, and it's better. I mean, using this kind of control, we are going to be able to increase the capacity of information that we are going to be able to transmit reliably. And so this is the reference to the research that is going on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Felix. The time limit is a little bit exceeding, so it's 3 minutes and 25 seconds, but it's okay. So later on, for the 8 minutes presentation and also for 15 minutes presentation, the time allocation could be met if you able to reduce a little bit content in the introduction, so that you not spend too much in explaining the details on that. And then you could make a forward description on the next section, so that the time limitation could be used effectively. Okay, thank you. We would like to invite Ella Fatasha as our next speaker.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I am Ella Fatasha from Department of Media Production Management, Faculty of Communication Science, Bachelor University. Here, I will present about the popularity of television as a medium of entertainment in the digital era. As we know, the media has undergone many changes, many advanced tools that are more attractive and effective. I took this time because I wanted to explain about the development of media, especially.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ella. Could you move the slides, because it is static in my screen right now.
Okay. Here is the background. Television.
Well, I guess the problem is just like when we have Nita. Previously, the slide is not moving when you are presenting. So could you?
Okay.
Well, in short, is the PowerPoint is not working. It only show the title slides only. Could you okay, stop share and then share it again. Okay. Okay, you may continue.
Okay. This is my background. My background is about television in the past, television in nowadays, entertainment media in nowadays, and competition between television and social media. And here is a picture about television from time to time. And then the introduction is television is a medium of communication and information that in its broadcast must be in accordance with the established regulation. It is a mass media that allows the diffusion of information and the entertainment of users. I took this time because I want to explain about the development of media, especially televisions nowadays. Formulation found in television culture suggests the close link between pleasure, meaning, and identity. The pleasure and power of making meanings, of participating in the mode of representation, of playing with the semiotic process. These are some of the most significant and empowering pleasures that television has to offer. And then the current developments have brought the world to the digital age. There are a variety of new media and platforms engaged in communication and information. Interesting features available on the media can attract the attention of the public to switch from televisions. This my reference. And that's all about me. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Ella. The presentation time is 1 minute and 53 seconds, which is under 3 minutes. Okay, my suggestion related to the design of your slide is that I think you need to remove the way of your presenting sentences into a short words, short phrases, or just 1 or 2 words, which basically tells the same thing with the original slide. However, you're not making it into a sentence because well, as you probably see as you probably saw the YouTube video that we have in the class, probably in I guess it was in last Thursday, that we saw that if you put sentence in a presentation, nobody will read them anyway, because the focus is on you as the speaker. The visual aids is only to help us to guide to the rest of the presentation. So therefore, if you able, so instead of using sentences, you may use short phrases. And also, since you are going to talk about the how people are changed or not changed in nowadays situation in terms of watching television, you could also introduce some kind of a picture of a new media that people use nowadays, for example, like YouTube or online TV, etc., and so on, as a comparison between the traditional broadcasting on television and also in the digital entertainment nowadays. So instead of only have a slide full of text, you may also include some pictures of television and also picture of the new media that we use nowadays. Okay, so but I guess I could see your point is to look out what are the changes happens in today's period when people are starting to use digital system for entertainment and how their response to the television network. Okay, thank you, Ella. And therefore, we would like to move on to the next presenter. Do we have Muhammad Rafli Indra Kusuma in the classroom? Okay, Muhammad Rafli Indra Kusuma. Okay, if there are no Rafli, we could move on to Mulia Sujiastuti.
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay, can you see my share screen?
Yeah, we can see your PPT.
Okay.
Okay, could you make it full screen, please?
Okay. Okay, please wait a minute. Okay, it is a slideshow.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum.
Hello, my name is Mulia. I'm member of the Physics of Magnetics and Photonics Research Division, Institut Teknologi Bandung. Today, I want to show you about my final project research is about the study of optical response of nanoparticle aggregates. Okay, in the end of this decade, nanoparticle technology to manipulate light have become one of the topics that's always developing in science and technology. The one of them is nanoplasmonic structure. It can be used in biosensing, chemical sensing, waveguides, metamaterials, and many more. There are many challenging to manufacturing process and selection of the right materials. Okay, when a scattering object is radiated by electromagnetic wave, it can be formed a field wave, dipole radiation, and the wave will be scattered upward and will be absorbed into the object. And so the scattering electromagnetic wave, which consists of the electric and magnetic scattering field, it can be obtained by meteorite for scattering with spherical geometry. However, the scattering with arbitrary geometry, we cannot use meteorite. And so we require the electromagnetic computational method that can be obtained by scattering multipole. So in this research, we observe the scattering analysis and characteristic spectrum of the aggregate structure as a scatter with a surface integral equation. And the surface integral equation is derived from the Maxwell equation through Green's theory function. This method that has ability to obtain good computational result. It's meant a high accuracy for any solid scattering structure with wide range of the permittivity. And the scattering response can be obtained from the cross-section scattering and the composition of the scattering field with multiple expansion method to analyze the aggregate spectrum. From the scattering cross-section, we will get a lot of information of the characteristic of this nanoparticle. Okay, there is the reference for this research. Okay, that's all for me, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mulia. You spent less than 3 minutes, and due to the time limitation, I'm sorry, not going to give you too much comment, but excellent work in terms of preparing the content and also the outline. Okay, let us move on to the next presenter. Do we have Jihan Shania in the classroom?
Yes.
Okay.
I will share my screen. Okay. Could you see my screen, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.
Hello everyone, my name is Jihan Shania and a member of Physics of Earth and Complex Systems Research Group. The topic I bring for this study is very relevant to our current condition. I did a study entitled Analyze Human Behavior Change in Shopping Due to the COVID-19 Pandemic. In my study background, the coronavirus that started in China in 2019 has spread worldwide. To reduce the spread and impact of COVID-19, almost all governments in the world have implemented social distancing and lockdown policies. This unprecedented situation has reserved consequences for consumer daily life and dramatically changed the way consumers act and behave, such as shopping impulsively, hoarding behavior, and switching to online shopping. The situation causes shortage and has a serious impact on the world economy. For this reason, I conduct a study on consumer decision in shopping during the pandemic influenced by fear. I use the data from the online survey, which will then be processed using the multiple linear regression method to determine what factors specifically influence consumer decision in shopping. After that, I will make a model from this study using agent-based modeling. The factor I meant earlier, such as fear of unhealth, fear of other health, fear of losing a job, fear of the economic disease, and etc. This This all from me. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you. You spent 2 minutes sharp, which is under 3 minutes. And you're going to analyze it in terms of socio-physics using some machine learning or something?
Yes, I'm using agent-based modeling.
Oh, agent-based model. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I would like to invite the next speaker, Nazlia Zahra.
Okay, can you see my PPT, sir?
Yes.
Okay, good morning, sir, and all my friends here. Hope you all have a good day. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Nazlia Zahra, and today I will tell you about my research topic about optimization of dose and image quality in adult and pediatric CT scan. And when we talk about radiation, according to National Council Radiation Protection and Measurement, the largest increase in population radiation was found in patient exposure to medical procedure. Radiation dose increased with higher CT image quality due to the use of higher voltage or TVP and or electric current or MIS explicit and as we can see in the picture below, when we increase the MIS or KVP, the CTDI or CT dose index will also increase radiation. In this case, radiation dose increase with higher CT image quality due to the higher KVP and MIS explicit consideration of relationship of CT image quality to applied dose is crucial in CT radiation protection, and ensuring high CT image quality with reduced radiation exposure is invariably an issue, especially for radiologists and researchers. And when we talk about radiation in medical physics, we have ALARA principle, or as low as reasonable achievable, and where ALARA is the principle where that we have to minimize the radiation dose but still maintain the image quality, and the metrics for image quality assessment for CT scan and radiation dose were proposed in the ICRU report number 87. And the metrics such as noise magnitude, CT number, and CT uniformity were assessed in large samples of ROI or region of interest and low contrast resolution, determined in CNR contrast to noise ratio and SNR signal to noise ratio. And the optimal protocols for scanning adult and pediatric are not readily determined by CNR alone, but also the image-oriented parameters such as KVP, MIS, as well as tissue under our investigation, and how these factors may interact remains unclear and needs to be explored, which is the purpose of this current study. And this study aims to determine the optimal CT scanning protocol based on all possible metrics while conducting an overall evaluation of the effect of the scan parameters on CT image quality and radiation dose. And the optimal protocols are EVP, MIS, and IR are derived by figure of merit based on CT image quality or CNR and CT dose index or CTDI volume. And here are the references that I use. That's all for me. Thank you for your kind attention.
Okay, thank you, Nazila. Nazlia. You spent 3 minutes zip, and we could move on to the next presenter, Amanda.
Yes, sir.
Okay, maybe Nazlia could turn off her sharing.
Yeah, I'm sorry, sir.
It's okay.
This is my share screen. Could you see my share screen?
Yes.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. My name is Amanda Clara Dwi Putri, and this occasion I would like to present my scientific paper with the title is Measurement of Electrical Conductivity on Concealed Field Using the Electromagnetic Induction Method. Agriculture is an activity that utilizes biological resources to produce food, industrial raw materials, or energy sources and manage the environment. Some technology can be applied to agriculture process to help increase the effectiveness of the process. For example, is by implementing the precision farming, because the main aims of precision farming is to increase crop yields and reduce environmental impact. This precision farming can be done using a geophysical method. The geophysical method that often used for agriculture application are resistivity method, electromagnetic induction method, and GPR or ground penetrating radar. Geophysical method used for precision farming, because from geophysical method we can get the information about the physical properties of Earth's subsurface, such as resistivity, electrical conductivity, density, and several so on. And from that physical properties, we can know about the condition of soil, such as water level, salinity level, and fertilizer content. The development of geophysical method for agriculture application began in 1930 until 1980. In that year, resistivity method and GPR method is used to measure water content, soil moisture, estimate salinity levels, and soil mapping. And in the 1990, mapping electrical conductivity by resistivity and electromagnetic induction become increasingly important to precision farming. Moreover, electrical conductivity measurement have been carried out to describe the soil condition and to map the relationship between soil microbial biomass and organic matter fraction. So from that background, the objective of this paper is to measure the electrical conductivity of concealed field from its planting until harvesting with various treatment. There is nitrogen fertilization and cover crop. And the method that used in this paper is electromagnetic induction. Okay, maybe that's all from me. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. Let us move on to the next presenter, Maria Cindrawati.
Okay, yes, sir. Can you see my screen, sir?
Yes.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Maria Cindrawati from Physics of Art and Complex System Research Division, Faculty of Mathematics and Natural Science, ITB. So today I'm going to present my introduction topic research entitled Analysis of Clay Mineral Characteristic, Metamorphic Rocks of Geothermal System using the X-ray diffraction method. Wait, I can next. Okay. Okay, Indonesia is the one of the countries that is part of the Ring of Fire trajectory, which makes Indonesia a source of geothermal energy. Geothermal potential of an area can be geothermal potential of an area can be known through change in the texture, mineralogy, and chemical composition of rocks caused by hydrothermal fluid activity. In my research, is more focused on the mineralogy. So the characteristics of the mineral types, it can be determined by using this XRD, X-ray diffraction. This method is very suitable for identifying clay mineral because it's use an X-ray spectrum with an wavelength of about 20 meter until 2 nanometer. And for clay mineral, the size is less than 2 meter. That's why this method can be used to identify groups and subgroups of mineral clay based on their reflection. So the purpose of my research is to determine characteristic and the presence of clay mineral in the LW1 and LW2 well, based on the XRD method and their relationship to the formation of the Lawu mountain geothermal system. That's all for me. Thank you for attention. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you, Maria. The time of your presentation is about 2 minutes. Okay, thank you. Moving on to the next presenter. I would like to invite Gelar Subakti. Do we have Gelar Subakti Ramdhani in the classroom? Okay, if we don't have Gelar, we should move on to Firas and Umila.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Can you see my PPT?
No.
Oh, wait. Sorry. Okay. Nah.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.
My name is Firas Anumila. I'm a member of Earth and Complex System Physics Research Division. I will explain my research about optimization design of high-speed transport inspired by nature. First, biologically inspired design or adaptation or derivation from nature is referred to as biomimetics. It means mimicking biology or nature. And then aquatic animals are considered superior in their capability to technologies produced from nautical engineering. By studying and understanding the mechanism of natural phenomena, human may be able to reproduce this phenomena on demand. For example, friction resistance of high-speed ship account for 40 until 50% of total resistance, while it will increase to 70 until 80 for low speed ship. Now we can see two animals, shark and dolphin. Shark skin is designed with microstructure feature that effectively control naturally occurring turbulent vortices, which leads to less momentum transfer and shear stress, and thus reduce drag. And the second one, dolphin. Aristotle considered dolphin to be the fastest of all animals and capable of leaping over the mass of large boat. Such perception of the dolphin swimming ability remains to present day, and speculation of special mechanism to reduce drag. Dolphins have special mechanism, namely body and appendage shape, viscous damping, dermal ridge and secretion, and the last one, behavioral mechanism for drug reduction. The idea that dolphins have special mechanism to reduce drug has been interesting. That's all for me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you, Firas. Now we could move on to the next presenter. I would like to invite Radina Satrio. Okay, I think in the chat, he told us that there's some kind of a difficulties in terms of the network there in Radino's place. Okay, so therefore, instead of Radina, could we move on to Miranda Sitompul? Do we have Miranda in the classroom?
Yes, sir. Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Miranda Sitompul. I'm from the Department of Physics, and now I will tell you about my internship or practical work topic with the title Digital Signal Processing using MATLAB from Hornridge Antenna Measurement Result at Kupang National Observation. Programming language are extremely significant and widely utilized in this era because they can process and analyze extremely fast and complex data set. In this project, I use MATLAB because MATLAB is a programming language for handling and analyzing massive amount of data. Digital processing is critical in today's world. And in this project, I use Hornridge antenna to measure the signal in the entity area in order to see how frequency and noise are distributed throughout the area. What is the purpose of signal processing? The purpose of signal processing, the first is we can see the because of the micro resonance, we can see what elements are in the air and forecast what content in the air. The second, define the new image macro evolution. The third, predicting the future astronomy and is a difficult task. And the last is application in geodynamics, ITRF, EOP, climate and atmosphere and galaxy observation. This is the picture of Hornridge antenna, and this is the program language that I use to process the signal. The process is the first signal measurement were taken at 7 locations. It's 1 kilometer away from the Timor National Observatorium. The second, I use fast Fourier transform to process the signal with MATLAB programming language that can be used to transform data. And the last, the output from signal processing, finding are analyzed. That's all about my project, practical work project. I said thanks.
Okay, thank you. Miranda, the time for your presentation is about 3 minutes or less. However, the thing that you need to improve is basically never read the content, right? Well, what I'm showing to you all, and I'm sorry for that, during lecture, maybe I'm speaking the sentences that is mentioned in the lecture notes too often. So it makes some kind of an impression that whenever you do presentation, you just read the content. In this case, okay, never done that. If you're going to present something for your defense or something for a seminar, never write a sentence and then you read from one word to another. That's not the whole point of presentation, because the main focus is yourself. It is not the PPT, and then PPT itself is only to aid you when you are talking about the content, and therefore you must make the visual aid simpler, not too many sentences, and then you're not reading the whole words that is written in the slides. Okay, but nevertheless, thank you for your efforts. I would like to, okay, thank you, Miranda. I would like to move on to Melissa Damayanti as our next presenter.
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay, so hello everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Hari for the opportunity. So the presentation day is coming. Let me introduce myself. My name is Melissa Damayanti. I'm from Biophysics Research Group, and what I'm going to share today is my paper introduction. I'm still working on my paper, but it will be great to share a brief overview of mine. So as we can see from the screen in front of us, there is an illustration of the brain and neuron connectivity. And it is related to my topics with title the influence of montage references on the analysis of EEG measurements. Sure, I didn't mention about the brain in my paper's title, even the illustrations there, but it will be better for us to explain about the brain first. Okay, so the human brain is one of the most complex systems on Earth. In the brain, there is an electrical activity, which if there is a disturbance in the transmission of information, it will be related to the malfunctions, which can lead to a certain neurological disease. Are we just talking about brain disease? No. Beside that, there is much more information that we can gain from the brain, such as analyzing our behavior and others. So it will be very interesting to learn and to research, to do the research about brain. So the human brain works with the electrical system by moving ions from one side to another in nerve cells. Cells have a membrane layers that contains sodium, potassium, and chloride ions and proteins. So when given a stimulus strong enough to pass the threshold value, so a membrane depolarization process will occur, and an action potential is formed by the depolarization of this membrane through the propagation of the impulse through the synapse. So okay, after we talk about the brain, we talk about the EEG itself. EEG is one of the most popular techniques for the study of brain dynamics. So human scalps electroencephalography has been used for brain study due to its sensitivity, non-invasives, and high time resolution. Successful about utilizing EEG usually depends on signal processing, including time frequency analysis in many aspects include about the references influence. Okay, there is much evidence showing that the references scheme may affect the measurements, then numerical results become hard to be interpreted. So that we need not only control the EEG experimental setup, but also we need to choose the right references for our research. The average earlobe signals are the most recommended configuration in more general terms. Some papers mentions about that. So in my paper later, I will be explain and investigate more about the about the chosen the reference chosen montage, and finally a general conclusion can be drawn with the following detailed discussion. So that's all from me. Have a great day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let us move on to the next presenter, Siti Zahratul Jannah.
Yes, sir. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Siti Zahratul Jannah. Today, I would like to I would like to talk about my research topic, that is the green synthesis of zinc oxide nanoparticle using aqueous extract of cucumber or Cucumis sativus. Nanotechnology is a multidisciplinary technology that talks about the manipulation of particle at the nanometer scale. The nanotechnology is over 1 million advantage that can be utilized in various sectors of life. And the properties such as conductivity, reactivity, melting point, melting temperature, and mechanical properties will change when the particles are below 100 nanometer or the nanoparticle scale. And there are too many reasons for the change in the material properties at the nanometer scale. The first is nanomaterial have a large surface area than the bulk material, which is affect strange and other properties that have mentioned above. And the second, a quantum effect can dominate the material at the nanoscale, which is affect the optical, electrical, and magnetical behavior of the materials. And in addition, the nanomaterial have adjustable physicochemical properties such as size, morphology, surface charge, and stability. These properties have made nanomaterials very attractive in the pharmacy and medical sector, even in cosmetic sector. An advantage in use nanoparticle for application in cosmetic sector by considering environmental aspect, encourage many researchers to choose the method of synthesis by green synthesis. And the various of study have shown that plants are considered to be prime candidates and suitable for large-scale green synthesis of nanoparticle. Because the extract of plant are also considered to contain various phytochemicals such as flavonoid, phenolic acid, alkaloids, saponin, carbohydrate, amino acid, protein, and terpenoid, which is an important role in the process of synthesizing of nanoparticle. And in this research, I chose Cucumis sativus or cucumber. The cucumber is a plant originating from northern India, namely the slope of Himalaya. And the cucumber have some compounds such as steroids, terpenoids, alkaloid, phenolic, flavonoid, and saponin. And in addition, cucumber can also be used as a source of antioxidant because they contain vitamin C, vitamin E, provitamin A, and flavonoids, thymoquinone, stannin, niacin, and the others. And eating cucumber can maintain a healthy body and skin. And ZNO nanoparticle is a type of metal of nanoparticle. ZNO nanoparticle have attractive properties such as wide band gap, high bending energy, and geoelectric properties. Zinc oxide nanoparticle can exhibit various nanostructures which are believed to be safe, non-toxic, biosafe, and biocompatible. And chemically,
Zinc oxide is rich in hydroxyl group, which allows zinc oxide to dissolve well in both acid and basic condition. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you to you all, and I would like to apologize if there is some mistake.
Okay, thank you. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, you spent more than 3 minutes, and then there are some words that kind of distracting, such as properties. It's not properties, but properties, because if it's written as TIZE, then it's properties, but it is written as TIES, so it becomes properties. Okay, nevertheless, thank you for your presentation, Steve. And now we would like to move on to the next presenter, Desira.
Yes, hello, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Is my screen show up?
Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Hari and everyone. Thank you for giving me the chance to talk about my research. My name is Destira, and I'm part of Physics of Earth and Complex System Research Division from Physics Department, Faculty of Mathematics and Natural Sciences, ITB. So this morning, I'm going to talk about sentiment analysis of public opinion related to mental health on Twitter during the COVID-19 pandemic using naive-based classifier method. So let's start with why I'm choosing this topic. So the COVID-19 pandemic is a global crisis that not only threatens public health physically, but also mentally. It has caused fear, anxiety, and uncertainty for so many of us. This caused anxiety for a lot of people, not only because of the fear of being infected with the virus, but also because of the various anxiety triggers we face together. And undeniably, a lot of people are struggling to cope during this time. So what do you think people would do in this situation? Some people are trying to overcome the psychological impact of the COVID-19 pandemic by simply sharing feelings with each other through social media. For example, on Twitter. Twitter has become a social network that is now used by millions of people as a medium to access and share information in real time. From tweets, we can find out about how people feel about COVID-19. If we want to collect data of people's mental health during pandemic, we can read their tweets, right? But with millions of tweets on Twitter, will you read all of them? Of course not. So to process big data, we need the help of computers. But how do computers understand emotions? This is where we need sentiment analysis. So what is the sentiment analysis? Humans express their feelings on a regular basis. These feelings are called emotions. Scientists are using different techniques, including machine learning, to train machines on how to understand human emotions. So this is called sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis is a tool that tries to give machines and computers software the ability to understand the emotion of users. In a computer's perspective, emotions are split into 3 categories: positive, neutral, and negative. And one of the most widely used methods in classifying this kind of thing is the naive-Bayes method. But I think I'll explain the naive-Bayes algorithm on the next presentation. So in the study, sentiment analysis was carried out to see what Twitter user opinions about mental health using a naive-Bayes method. That's all from me. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I would like to hear your comment later on. Good morning.
Okay, thank you, Destira. So now we're going to move on to the final presenter, Fahrisa. Do we have Fahrisa Nurfadelia?
Present, sir.
Okay.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.
I'm Farisan Faria Bahraini. I'm from Department of Physics, Bandung Institute of Technology, and today I will present my research to all of the participants in this Zoom meeting, talk about multi-technique for the characterization of the sidewall core of hydrocarbon reservoir rock. For today's agenda, I will only show you the introduction of this research. In human life, oil and gas are non-renewable natural resource. This natural resource provides many benefits that humans need in their daily activities. Oil and gas, as an energy producer, is processed into ready-to-use product contained below the Earth's surface. There have been technological developments and optimizations of oil resource extraction in recent years. One of the methods is enhanced oil recovery or EOR method. The EOR method will be useful for optimizing oil extraction. Optimization of this method can be done by characterizing the rock in the hydrocarbon reservoir area. As you can see in figure 1, the image that I show you in the slide, in a field, if we take a block of sandstone as a reservoir scale, we can characterize it into a microscopic scale, so we can learn or study about the physical and chemical properties of the rocks that made of the scale of the field. In this research, several different techniques will be used to characterize the sidewall core sample of hydrocarbon reservoir rocks. There are three different techniques. The first is microcomputed tomography or micro-CT. This is related to digital rock physics. The second is X-ray diffraction or XRD, and the last is scanning electron microscopy or SEM. At the end, we hope we can see the relation or correlation from each techniques. So we will talk about each techniques or method in a later presentation. I think that's all for today's presentation. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, with Fahriza's presentation, we would like to end our session today. Thank you all for participating. I'm sorry for the delay and also for the lateness of the presentation session. For those of you who haven't got the chance of presenting today, you are expected to make a video for 3 minutes presentation. And therefore, I would like to stop the recording